Our rise to the top continues. And of course, everybody knows that winning is the only thing that matters, right? Well, it was back in 1964 when Charlie Brown suffered a sore arm. This was a classic case of little leaguer's elbow. Linus wound up coming on as an emergency pitcher. And of course, Linus led the team to an amazing victory. And so nobody wanted Charlie Brown to pitch again after he got better. Well, hi there again, guys, and we've got another one of these first thing in the morning videos for you, so we'll go ahead and jump straight on into it. And see, this time around we've actually beaten the demo mode, so that's a pretty good thing. Let's see who we're playing here today. I think we're playing against the Brave Warriors, which hopefully should be another easy 2 victories for us. We'll see how we do. Some of you might be surprised to see another video so soon after I had the other one released. The story behind that is that I was playing the game of Diamond Mine Baseball last night. I started it a little bit later than I wanted to. It's probably around 9 o'clock that I started it, and I thought to myself as usual, oh, this will be done in a half hour. Little did I know that the game would go into extra innings, and it would wind up taking up so much time. So that ended up taking me like about an hour and 20 minutes or so to play, and that destroyed the rest of my plans for the evening. So there you have it. Well, that was pretty bad, Frida. We gotta make sure we're swinging at strikes here. So that's kind of what happens with some of those simulation videos. I'll tell you, I really do enjoy making them. I especially like doing the baseball history research. It's a lot of fun, and it gives me a lot of things to write about, a lot of other things to think about, and stuff like that. The only trick, though, is that it takes time to put together. And also, sometimes the history type stuff doesn't do quite as well as other stuff, so the trick, I think, is to try to combine stuff together. But, you know, if you haven't watched any of it yet, I do recommend at least giving some of the simulation-related stuff a try, because it is a lot of fun. The real difficulty in making videos like that is trying to figure out how to make it engaging, right? So if I make a video playing a game like this, it's naturally engaging. You can see a lot of different screens, you can hear the music of the Nintendo and stuff like that. Playing a text-based baseball sim is a little bit harder because it puts a lot more emphasis on what you can come up with and sort of like, you know, the imagination that you can use when you put things together. So not as easy as it looks, I'll put it that way. Man, that was pretty bad. I need to stop stepping back so far. So we're having some problems here with Calvin early on. This is a game that we should be able to win easily, but there's a lot of should've, would've, and could've here so far in this season. There we go. So one of the things I find amazing when I go through the old newspapers looking at baseball history is how different things really were in terms of, you know, how the minor leagues used to work and stuff like that. Especially in 1919, so the agreement between the majors and the minors kind of went away, and they did away with the draft for a couple of years there. And so if you wanted to get a player from the minor leagues, you actually had to trade one of your players for them. And you can see, when you look through the history, a lot of examples of this happening. We tend to forget about this because these days we're so accustomed to major league teams basically owning the minor league teams and players sort of automatically being sent up and sent down. That's not the way that it was for the majority of the history of the game. And so if you had, I don't know, let's say you had a shortstop that couldn't hit, but he could field pretty well, right? You're probably not going to go send him down to the minors to go work on his hitting. Now, in some cases it would happen, and he would stay on the payroll, but not all the time. In fact, I would argue that most of the time it just wouldn't work like that. Instead, you would wind up sort of like dealing the guy to, the minor leagues. Hopefully you can see him again later, and then you got to give up a player to get him and all that other stuff. So it was an interesting sort of a different structure back in those days. In a very real sense, things have changed mostly for the convenience of major league teams. And so these days when we, complain so much about, what the owners are doing in terms of, player salaries and stuff like that, I mean, it is something to complain about, right? The owners trying to maintain this control. But you have to realize that a lot of the baseball systems that exist today, a lot of the, major league system, the minor league system and stuff like that, is really designed to enrich the owners, as it stands. My biggest concern is not necessarily like the imposition of a major league level salary cap, but rather the fact that the lower levels of the sport have been so co-opted by the major leagues and turned into basically, as you know, a farm where you kind of raise players. Tell you, one swing of the bat and we can basically turn this game around, but we didn't get it there. I say turn it around, I mean we're winning as it stands. Now one bug I noticed with this game is that if the player in front of you hasn't reached the next base yet, you can't run like right behind him. So right there we had a player over on third base who probably could have scored, but we couldn't get him or her over. I think it was Lucy. Doesn't matter that much in the end, of course. One of the reasons why I have concerns about, the state of minor league baseball is because I grew up in a minor league town. And, what you don't realize if you haven't grown up in that environment is that it's not a whole ton of fun to watch a team that's basically, like the JV team of the major league team, right? It's not as much fun to follow them in the papers. It's not as interesting because as soon as you get a good player, they end up going to the major leagues. Alright, so supposing that we win this game, we have to decide what we're going to do with all of our hard-earned cash. And I'm not sure if... Oh man, that was close. I'm not sure if we want to keep upgrading the pitching or what we want to do. We probably should, though. I think our batting right now is good enough to sort of stand pat for the time being. Bro, how am I supposed to catch that if he just stops halfway? So, one of the unfortunate things is that by the time that Charles Schultz came around and was of age to really care about like the St. Paul Saints, they were basically a farm team of the Chicago White Sox. He kind of missed out because he was too young. He missed out on the glory days of the 19-teens and 1920s when the teams were all independent, when you really had local baseball stars. And that's when the newspapers would cover the local sport a lot better than we realize sometimes. There's a lot of controversy about that and around the formation of the farm system. There was a lot of controversy between Branch Rickey and Kennesaw Mountain Landis about this. Bill James talks about it in the New Historical Baseball Abstract. And the funny thing is, I've been looking around trying to find original sources of this. James doesn't even mention which year all of this stuff comes from, and that's the problem. So I'm still kind of at a loss trying to figure out exactly when these discussions took place and, where the media coverage is and all of that stuff. One of the big complaints I have when I do baseball history research is that there's this tendency that people who do this research have of not actually citing their sources. And it's a major problem, and it's all over the place. And I see it everywhere. I see it in SABR biographies. You see it sometimes in published books that were peer-reviewed, right? When you start digging in, you're like, I can't figure out exactly where we got this from. But the biggest issue that I have comes mostly from those SABR biographies. they're well written for the most part, and they're fairly well done, but the issue is that sometimes the citations are not very precise, and so it'll tell you, oh, well, it says this in this newspaper. It doesn't tell you sometimes the date, doesn't tell you like the page number, you know? I mean, how are you supposed to look it up? There's another issue with baseball history research that people don't talk about that much, and that is the sort of emphasis on documentation above actual, like, you know, prose and storyline. And so I haven't quite gotten to this point yet in this project, but if you spend time reading a lot of the more recent books that were published about the Black Sox scandal, for example, what you will notice when you read those books is that there's a lot of good historical work, and that there's a lot of good, documents that are cited and things like that, but there's not a lot of very good work in terms of, like, creating an actual story. So the thing that that book 8 Men Out has as an advantage is that it's a really easy to read book. The storyline is pretty easy to follow, despite the fact that there's a whole ton of different characters and a whole bunch of different things happening. Right, it's written in a way that's very, very accessible. There have been a lot of books that have come out to debunk it, and 8 Men Out has a lot of problems, including, you know, like the guy making up sources, making up historical evidence and stuff like that, right? Minor issues. But the issue is that the books that sort of came out to, you know, correct the record and all of that stuff, generally, they're not written in a way that's really accessible. In fact, some of the books that I've read are a little more than just collections of sources, you know, without much interesting commentary. Basically, I guess what I'm saying is that there's a couple of problems I think we have in baseball history. One of them is sort of a problem with, like, doing not just good research, but being precise about it. The other problem I know that we have is a problem with figuring out how to actually write about the sport. Now, the other thing that complicates all of this is the fact that you have so much baseball history research these days that's confined to statistics only, which, quite frankly, is the most boring possible way to research the game of baseball. I mean, stats don't tell you anything, stats don't have parents, stats don't have stories, right? Stats are just numbers, right? And as much as we think of baseball as a game of statistics and a game of numbers, it's actually a game of people. That's what makes it interesting. So, like, for example, and people, you may already know this, there are a lot of people who will write about, like, finance, the stock market and stuff like that. That's all numbers. But in terms of, journalism, writing a bunch of stock numbers is not a particularly interesting story to tell. And similarly, you know, when your baseball research is confined mostly to, like, wins above replacement, I was gonna take her out. There we go. When you're talking mostly just about numbers, it's honestly not that interesting. It's not a great story to tell. Well, phooey on that. We need to get some more base hits here. We need to win this ball game. We want to win it quickly. We don't want this game to drag on too long. I'm not sure what happened there, but that was definitely an error on the part of the computer. They're not going to give that an error, but and there we go. Oh, that'll score 1, so Frida gets a double. I think she does. Yep, she does. She's in there. And that brings up Pigpen. Let's see if he can sock one. Put this game out of its misery. Well, he didn't really sock it, but that's kind of close enough. Oh, there you go. That makes it 10-0. So it took us a little while this time around, but we got there eventually. And no, I don't think putting Billy out there is going to change anything, guys. Ha! You ever see that happen? Well, we got lucky there. We got lucky there. He would have been the dead duck. He would have been picked off. Well, so much for that. We may need to give ourselves a little bit more luck. I think that might be what we're missing. Alright, 2 more to go. See if we can do it. So I don't understand why I couldn't have the fielder who was closest to the ball, so they had to have the guy who I couldn't see. You like that throw, huh? Wow, Orson has not had a single hit. How about that? There you go. So we win this one 10-0. That means we'll play against them right away. 48,000 attendance, so we get 93,000 out of that. That's not bad. And we'll play a couple of these other games here. Wow, the Japan Robins beat the American Dreams. We should have watched that one, huh? And then we need the Ninja Black Sox and the World... Wait. We can't have them play against them because we just played them, so I don't know, we'll do this. Alright. Alright, here we go again. As always, I want to remind you that if you enjoy what you're seeing, consider becoming a YouTube member. You can also support me over on Substack. And barring all of that, you can also go over to Patreon and support me. I've been owing people a Patreon video here for a little while, so we're going to try to pull one together here today. Got a whole bunch of stuff that we're uploading over there, so there's a lot of good stuff coming up. There's a lot of other stuff that I'm working on as well, kind of behind the scenes, that you should be at least somewhat interested in. For example, we're going to have a video coming up here eventually about Vin Scully's broadcasting style. And I've got a lot of interesting things that I've discovered as I've been listening to old Vin Scully games. So there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about that is going to come up in the near future in this channel. So stick around and you won't regret it. Alright, here we go. Next video in this channel, though, again, is going to be about baseball cards. We're going to talk about the cards of 1984. In particular, we're going to talk a lot about our favorite counterfeit card, that Don Mattingly rookie. There's a good story behind that one. Funny how much of this stuff that people don't remember. Alright, well, we gotta run out of that. That gives Linus another RBI. And we'll get a couple more, huh? Alright, well, so far so good. Snoopy almost got hit by that pitch. We'll keep giving it a try. I don't think he got enough of that one. Fortunately, though, they don't know how to field, so we get a double. That's a gift. Against most of the harder teams, that ends up being a little pop fly and a put out. Well, so much for that. So we only get 5 runs out of that inning. Means we gotta go and knock him down again. Well, that's not gonna do it. Our right fielder has that Lucy out there. She decided she didn't want to play in the game anymore. She figured she'd go take a seat in the bleachers, and we probably would have better luck out there. Well, I know this. We need to work on Charlie Brown's curveball here. He's having a hard time with that. This is the thing people were telling me about. Can you get the pitcher to catch it? There you go. Yeah, a little bit too much of the plate. So I think that's the next thing we need to work on with him to try to avoid having so many home runs. I think we got to work on those curveballs. Is what's happening is we're trying to curve them away from the plate, and instead we're curving it right over the heart of the plate. And it makes sense when you look at his curve ratings are pretty low. So I think that's probably what we're going to work on here this next time around. Shouldn't be much of a problem though. We have enough hitting so that we should be able to get a couple of runs across anyway and end this one early. I'm not sure why that was called a strike since that first pitch was called a ball. I don't know what the difference is between them. Maybe somebody can do some in-depth analysis to try to figure out what is a ball and what is a strike in this game. Easy double. Oh, this might be an inside the park home run. As soon as it gets behind the fielder, you know you've got it. Easy. Standing up. We didn't even get the crowd to cheer for that one, man. That was everybody was silent as they watched Lucy round the bases. I guess they knew what was happening, they just couldn't react in time. I think she can beat it out. She can. So we haven't seen any big pigpen home runs so far today. He's been kind of quiet. Well, we got a run though, and that's the important thing. I think we can figure out a way to beat them anyway. And Peppermint Patty wasn't giving up these long home runs. Charlie Brown's having a hard time with that ball sort of hanging out over the middle of the plate. Oh, so close. There we go. And that'll do it, alright. Now let's go score, what do we need? 7 runs. If we can get 7 runs, then we can end this game. Viola now with 4 home runs. She's starting to wake up. Oh, shoot. I was headed right at her. Alright. As Grover has a tendency to want to throw the ball way out of the strike zone over to the right side. Alright, so what do? We probably will... It's only the third inning. I think we can leave him in. Just hope he doesn't hit into a double play. That's the thing I worry about. Oh, we'll take that. 7-3 now. There's a double play ball. Lucy can beat this out easily. And that just sneaks through. Oh yes, that's gonna score a couple. So it ends up being a double, scores 3. And I don't think that Fried is fast enough to score, so this sets it up though for Shermy. If he can get a home run, that'll end it. Or he'll just do that. That works as well. No luck. Oh man, so we're 1 run away. 1 run away from ending it right there. 12-3 now. This guy Rogers got some power. Yep. That's his second home run against Charlie Brown here today. We do need to work on that curveball. I think that's the thing we're going to focus on this time around. So like right there, trying to curve it back over against him, and it ends up just sort of sitting in the middle of the plate. Alright, we'll try this here. We came close, but not quite close enough. Alright. Yeah, put Orson in. We like Orson. Could have been a double play. Who in the world am I supposed to control there? There you go. So we get lucky there. We only give up the 1 run on the home run. We can score 2, then this game's over. We're up against Billy once again. Man, that was close. A little bit more muscle and she can get that out to center. There's a little scratch base hit, and look at that. So we get a gift out of this one. take him out now. I know that this means he probably won't get the win, but he hasn't been pitching very well. And unfortunately, we have no luck once again. That's what happens when you have players who have luck ratings of basically 0. So we'll put Rerun in here. See what he's looking like after the latest upgrades. Oh, come on, I caught that. And they rule that a trap, I guess. Just one of those NES things, huh? Yeah, put Chuck in there, right? Chuck doesn't get base hits. Alright, there's 2. See the way that we can curve that ball there with Rerun? That's kind of what we're looking for with Charlie Brown. He can't curve the ball quite like that. So we should be able to sort of curve it in on these guys at the last second. Sort of like that. Alright, again, we're just 2 runs away from sending everyone home. And this might be a home run. We'll see. Yep, 13-4. Alright, we're still just 1 run away, and here comes the big man. The pig man. There goes. So Pigpen lasts the whole video and has a hard time getting any sort of home runs up until the very, very final moment, and we win this one 15-4. So not bad. We won one in, what was it, 6 innings, this one in 5 innings, so we're getting there. Rerun with the victory, 4-1 is his record. And Violet and Pigpen. Roger had 2 home runs, by the way, against Charlie Brown. Violet now with 4 home runs, Pigpen with 19. So let's go improve our pitching. Now what we need to do is we need to get a couple of these other games played, so we'll do this one. And I can't remember which other matchup it is that we had. Which matchup was it that we had? I don't remember. It was this one. It's probably the wrong teams to play, but it's alright. So we look at the standings here. Since the American Dreams lost, they're now at 19-2. We're at 17-4 right behind them, only 2 games back. So we can overtake them, I think, coming up pretty soon. And, you know, World Powers, the Brave Warriors are looking awful, right? Ninja Black Sox are probably not going to catch up to us that much. Pigpen is getting up there. He's not quite hitting as well as Willie is, though, but that will change. And Willie with 17 home runs, so Pigpen really needs to get going. We may need to upgrade him again. He also has 51 RBIs. Sandy's ERA now 1.77, but Dizzy up there with 2.25. So we've got some work to do in the pitching front. And that's about it. So let's take a look here. We want to probably work on, so the curve ratings for Charlie Brown, they're 6 and 3, and that's where the problems are coming from. We probably want to work on getting that up to speed, and the other money, now this is the question, do we want to get Pigpen's batting up? We could do that for him. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the best way to spend money at the moment, though. what we might want to do is see Snoopy's luck is pretty low. We might want to start giving him a bit of luck and seeing if we can help him out in terms of fielding. I think that we're having a couple of problems because of that. And then there's always the question of Shermie's defense. So those are the other two things that we could technically look at. But let's start it off here. We have a lot of money to spend, and we didn't get very much out of that, did we? So we made gradual improvements there. I don't know if I necessarily want to dump a whole bunch of money back into him. I kind of like the place that we're at with pitching, so now he's got 6 and 5 for curve. He's got a slightly better drop than Peppermint Patty. I think we'll hold that for the time being. Let's go over here to Snoopy and try to give him some luck. Yeah, we'll do that here for him. So that's another 50,000. What else do we want to spend money on? Yeah, we might want to spend a little bit here on Linus. It's been a while. Yeah, look at that. We get 6 points rather. So we'll do that right now. And we get 2 points for Shermie, that's it. So we'll give him an 11 for defense. So he's at 11. Linus here is at 11 defense. Pigpen's at 12. Those are the ones that we probably want to think about improving a little bit as time goes on. Snoopy's defense, of course, is 15. He's now got at least a little bit of luck. That should make it a little bit easier for him. He still has 21 points to go, and so my guess is to make him... Let's see, you have 12 points for luck. There's 21 points, right? You could almost max out his hitting and batting as well as his luck. But I think what we'll do is we'll max out his luck next, and then we'll max out batting and then hitting probably the final. So we'll do him as sort of like a little bit of a... I don't know, of an experiment. We don't have any money. I'm not sure why I'm still looking at the rest of these guys. So there we have it. We got a little bit of a pitching upgrade, but this one was mostly about trying to upgrade the defense and the hitting a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. But we're getting to the point now where we can beat almost all of these teams within like before 9 innings by the 10-run rule, except of course for the American Dream. So we'll keep saving up that money and we'll keep upgrading these guys one at a time. Hope you enjoyed that. There's a lot more to come where that came from. I'll talk to you later.